Hey, you guys. Welcome to Talk About It Thursdays. I am your host, Karen Bailey. I would love to say hello to you guys. Just let me know that you're here. And we're going to get started in just a few minutes. You guys, last week we talked about it's time to change the lock, sis. Sometimes we have to change what we do and change who we allow in our lives if we want things to change. So I hope you guys were able to get something out of that helped you, especially those of us that are trying to have a better life. We're tired of going through the same old stuff, with different people, tired of looking back and realizing that we're not as far as we had hoped we would be. And a lot of times it's those habitual things that we do that hold us back, and just being so attracted to the familiar and not willing to step outside the box and try something different. You guys, our topic today is love doesn't live here anymore. Just about everybody that watches this podcast, we're all familiar with heartbreak. We know what it's like to have a relationship end. None of us are immune to that. I don't care how good of a person you are, how good of a communicator you think you are, how kind you think that you are. Something at some point may fall apart, and it may not be your fault, and it might be, but none of us are immune to heartbreak. So let's talk about how we handle that when love doesn't live here anymore. In life, sometimes we don't learn how to get love right. It's not a class on how to do it right. There's not training to help us not make mistakes, because we're human. And as much as we want to do everything right all the time, human nature doesn't allow us to do that. And so sometimes love just doesn't work out for us. Relationships don't work out. But until we get the lesson out of it, we're going to continue to go through the same things over and over again. You have to make up your mind to choose the lesson over the hurt. You got to understand that everything happens for a reason. Nobody, is perfect. Nobody is exempt, but sometimes God lets things fall apart in our lives so that he can put us back together. Sometimes we're going in the wrong direction, and sometimes God has to allow our hearts to be broken in order to make us change direction, to get our attention and make us focus on him. So every time you've been broken, it's not a bad thing. Sometimes that's what it takes to get you to the level where you can hear God. And anytime we choose to hold on to the lesson and let go of the hurt in a past relationship, you're one step closer to learning how to love somebody else properly. When you learn from your past mistakes, and when you learn from those things that in your last relationship caused friction or caused you to lose that closeness, and you learn from that, you learn what not to do, then you're one step closer to knowing how to truly love somebody properly. I'll tell anybody, until you've been hurt, you don't know what it's like to be hurt. And everybody needs to experience that so that we don't play with one another's feelings, that we don't play with each other's emotions. Because once you felt that kind of pain, more than likely you're not going to want to easily inflict that on anybody else. At least I hope that you wouldn't want to do that. But we all must first learn what love truly is. to be able to know what it's not. Sometimes people think that, oh, he shows me a lot of attention. Sometimes they think that that's love, and sometimes that's control. Oh, he fusses, about everything that I do, and he's real particular about what I wear and where I go. That may be control. That may not be love. And then counterfeit love comes in all shapes and sizes. We've all experienced what we thought was love, and then we realized later on that it was not. So we're not immune to the counterfeit. That's why it's so important for us to learn what love truly is, so that we can recognize what it's not when that's coming at us or trying to invade our lives. And real men and real women, you guys, they don't play games. They don't play mind games with you. Anybody that's playing with you, trying to see how you're going to react, trying to see if you're going to call them first, trying to see how you act when they ignore you, all that stuff, those are mind games, you guys. And games come from weak, insecure, immature people. Because when you know who you are and when you're confident in yourself, you don't have to play games with people. You don't have to, use trickery, to try to control people. When you're confident in who you are, you're straightforward, you're honest, you make your plans known, and you let people know what you will and will not tolerate. You don't play games. Because when you do play those kind of games, you guys, all you do is delay yourself, and you delay that other person from getting the kind of love that they truly deserve and that you truly deserve. But we have become a society, you guys. A lot of it is because of social media. We love things. We love image, how we look. It doesn't matter what's going on in the real. It's how we look on social media seems to be the most attractive thing, right now. But a lot of times what you're seeing out there, what you're seeing being posted, what you're seeing that looks like the perfect life is what somebody's trying to present to you. It may not be the truth. So don't get caught up and wanting to put an image out there, an image that you're not living up to behind the scenes. Because a lot of times, we get so caught up on material things. Some men would rather wash their cars 100 times, but they wouldn't run your spouse's bath water. What sense does that make when you've got somebody good in your life, somebody that loves you, but you would rather love on a vehicle, love on a thing, rather than showing that person some love, some consideration, saying, I appreciate you for all that you do. But that's the kind of society we've become. We like image, we like stuff, but we need to break away from that. And we also are a society that treats animals almost better than humans. And I could really talk about that, but I don't even want to get started on that. I've seen people have more compassion for a hurt animal than for a person on the side of the road that's needing some assistance. They would rather go and tend to a wild animal, that is very unpredictable, before they would stop and help somebody that they see stranded on the side of the road. But that's the society that we have become. A lot of it is a safety issue. We have to be more careful now because there's a lot of people doing a lot of things, and it does make you leery. But you have to make sure you don't lose your compassion, while you're trying to protect yourself. It's one thing to guard yourself and to make sure you're safe, but there's no reason to not assist somebody else, and show somebody else some compassion, some love. But we'll do it for an animal every time. And you guys, there is no such thing as perfect love here on earth. I don't care what they show you on TV. Nobody's perfect. So you couldn't have perfect love from another person. The only perfect love out there is the love of God. That's the only love that you're going to find that's perfect. So don't ask God to send you a perfect person, somebody that's not going to make mistakes, somebody that's gonna do everything right. Ask God to send you a person that's perfect for you. God knows who you are. He knows what you need to make you a better person. He knows who you need to help you to grow, to help you build, to help you prosper. God knows these things. And a lot of times we're asking for something that is not even in our best interest. So don't ask God for a perfect person, a perfect specimen. You know, he's got to be 6 foot tall. He's got to have a body like this, blah, blah, blah. Because a lot of times you're asking for something you can see with your eyes, something that doesn't have substance. So be careful what you ask for. And then don't be a rebound, you guys. Oh my gosh, I couldn't talk about that one enough. Being a rebound. A rebound is that relationship that people who have just had a breakup, they try to jump into another relationship to ease their pain. That is the rebound relationship, you guys. Do not become a rebound. Because one thing I've learned from my own experience with that is that a person who moves too quick after a breakup, they're still broken. Nothing has been fixed. They have not taken the time to analyze what they did wrong, what they need to do better, how they need to grow. They haven't had time to talk to God about, God, help me to be a better person so that my next relationship, will be better. They don't make time for that because all they want is to be comforted. All they want is for the pain to stop. And you are not another person's painkiller. So do not allow yourself to get caught up in a rebound relationship. Because if you do, he will bounce your heart all over the place. You won't know if you're coming or going. Same thing with women. You'll be apologizing for things that you never did, because they haven't gotten over the things from the last relationship. So don't allow yourself to be a rebound for anybody. You deserve better than that. You deserve better than that. And you guys, you have to recognize in relationships, no matter how much you love somebody, no matter how much you want to be with somebody, you have to recognize when you're the only one still fighting. Everybody doesn't hang in there and stick it out to the end. Some of them say, you know what, I didn't sign up for this, and they throw up the white flag, and you're still fighting, still trying to keep it together. You need to recognize when you're the only one still fighting and when that other person has given up and thrown up the white flag. Because it takes two people to make a thing go right, and it takes two people to mess up something. So you have to understand, if both of you aren't fighting for the same thing, you're just spinning your wheels. And then make sure that what you're fighting for, that relationship that you're fighting for, make sure that relationship was beneficial. A lot of times we talked about our emotions and how our emotions open the door to a lot of things, and our emotions lead us into a lot of things. Simply because you love somebody does not mean that that person is the best person for you. You need to make sure that what you're fighting for is worth it. Make sure that what you're fighting for made you better, that you saw a benefit from that relationship, not just because you're emotionally attached, but that relationship actually was a part of you. That relationship was taking you to a higher level. Because you can be in love with somebody that's constantly dragging you down, dragging you down, dragging you down. And then you have to start thinking with your head and say, you know what? I can't keep doing this because every year I'm further and further behind because I'm in love with this person. So you have to be the one to say to yourself, is this relationship worth fighting for? Is it making me better? Am I making them better? And if the answer is no, you may want to consider letting that person go on so that they can find the person in their life that will make them a better person, that will allow them to grow and be the person that God intended for them to be. So what does God and the Bible say about love? Love has a definition just like everything else. My favorite definition of love is God is love. And God has really been dealing with me about relationships and dealing with me about how to recognize when it's from God and when it's not. Because, we're human. And sometimes our flesh, our lust, will make us think something is what it's not. And so I've asked God to kind of help me to keep my focus on what he says love is and recognize it for what it is. And that way I don't get caught up in my emotions and my physical lust for somebody and end up in a relationship that's not good for me. So the Bible says about love in 1 Corinthians 13:4 through 8a. Number 1, love is patient and love is kind. If that person doesn't have patience and kindness, ask yourself, is that from God? Number 2, love does not envy or boast. Is that person a jealous-hearted person? Is that person, intimidated because you shine, is what I'm trying to say. Or does that person, feel like you're doing too much all the time just when you're trying to be yourself? Number 3, love is not arrogant. Love is not rude. So that's not of God. If somebody, you can't tell them anything, and they don't care how they speak to you, how they deal with you, that's not love. Love does not insist on its own way. One thing about life is that you have to learn that you don't know everything and you never will. And a person that insists on their own way, that's more or less controlling. That's not somebody that loves you. If it's their way or the highway, that's a selfish person. That's not love. Love is not irritable or resentful. People that hold grudges. If you can never be forgiven when you make a mistake, that person doesn't love you. If that mistake is always thrown back up in your face, you're always reminded of it, or you're made to feel small because of it, that's not love. And love does not rejoice at wrongdoing, but rejoices with the truth. We all make mistakes. And when somebody truly loves you, they don't try to do that tit for tat thing. They deal with whatever you did wrong. You talk about it, and they talk about how it makes them feel, and y'all work on getting past that. But anybody that is trying to pay you back so you can feel what they feel, that's not love. And then second to learning to love God, you guys, learning to love yourself is the best gift that you can do and give to yourself. Because a lot of times we spend so much time trying to love other people, trying to make other people happy, trying to be in relationships. We sometimes forget how to love ourselves. And that's the very basic beginning of how to love. You have got to learn how to love yourself right. Therefore, you can love somebody else right. And when relationships don't work, it's traumatic, you guys. I don't care how you sugarcoat it. I don't care how you front like, oh, it wasn't a big deal. It hurts. Anytime you're in a relationship that you had a desire for it to last or for it to be your forever relationship, when that relationship ends, I don't care how you play it off, you're hurt. It's gotta hurt. So you need time to heal, and you deserve that time to yourself. You deserve that time for God to heal your heart before you try to move on to somebody else. Because all you're doing is taking your brokenness into somebody else's life and causing them to have to deal with something you should have dealt with on your own. So how do we recognize when love has walked out the door, you guys? Well, these are 24 signs that love is no longer in your relationship. Number 1, you realize that you are the only one still fighting and working to stay together. Like I said before, when they're not even putting any effort into what you're trying to do to get close to them, to communicate with them, maybe it's going to counseling, maybe it's, going to prayer together. If they have no interest in that, you need to recognize that that's a sign that love has left. Number 2, you realize that where there's no patience, there's no love. When somebody's quick to anger and quick to snap at you all the time and they have no patience with you, yeah, the love is no longer there. And especially if somebody makes you feel like they're just tolerating you, the love is there. And it was something that a pastor once said, and I keep that in the back of my head. Go where you're appreciated, not where you're tolerated. You should be appreciated and celebrated by your partner. Don't just stay in something that somebody's tolerating you there and they make you feel like they don't even want to be there. Number 3, when you completely lose interest in each other and even in the relationship, and there seems to be no real explanation. You just decide you don't like each other anymore. You don't enjoy one another's company anymore. Number 4, you're no longer sharing what's on your mind. You're not sharing your private thoughts, your intimate thoughts with that person. Your deep connection you're losing your deep connection. Then love has walked out the door. Number 5, when it becomes difficult to have an engaging conversation or even joke around with somebody that you're in a relationship with because they take things wrong, or they're quick to get upset, or are quick to take things too personal when you didn't mean it that way. One thing I've learned, if a person is looking for a problem or looking for something in what you're saying, or looking for a reason, to start a fight, they will always find that reason. And that means that the love is no longer there. 6, your sex drive gets stale. Goes without saying. 7, you no longer prioritize your partner. You rather hang out with your friends. You make appointments to do things without even talking to them because you no longer see them as a priority. You're going to do what you want to do when you want to do it. The love is no longer there. 8, the butterflies have gone. And I don't mean that you're going to have the same butterflies that you have when you first meet somebody or first start talking this, that, and the other. I'm talking about you don't have excitement when you see that person, or you don't get excited about getting off work and going home to your partner. That's when the love is gone. Number 9, you're no longer best friends. That means that you don't see that person as your ally. You see them as somebody, that's not on your side, or somebody that you can't trust. You're no longer best friends. 10, you prefer to open up to other people over talking to your spouse or talking to your significant other. 11, the little cute habits that they used to have, that you used to laugh at and say, oh, he did so-and-so, that's what he do. Now they don't seem so cute to you. Now they get on your nerves. 12, if it feels like something is missing in the relationship and you start looking for it, the love is gone. Outside of the relationship, mind you. 13, you're unwilling to make changes to make your relationship better. 14, you're holding on to resentment and constantly reminding that person of past mistakes. 15, you dread it when your partner comes home. You prefer your quietness and your peace and your house being just you in it over your partner coming home. You dread it when they come home. 16, you start canceling your plans with your partner at the last minute because you just can't stand the idea of having to spend time alone with them. The love is gone. 17, you no longer miss one another. There's nothing more beautiful in relationships than when people text throughout the day and just say, hey, I just wanted to see how you were doing. Hey, I just wanted you to know I miss you. Can't wait for you to get off from work, or I just wanted to make sure, that you made it to work, this type of thing. That's how you keep a connection strong. But when nobody's checking on one another, nobody's concerned about what's going on in the other person's life, and you no longer even miss that person is not even in your thoughts throughout the day enough for you to reach out to them and just say, hey, I didn't want anything. I was just thinking about you. Then more than likely, the love has left the house. 18, you don't take care of them when they're ill. I've seen people, that were in relationships for a while and they literally would get mad because they would have to wait on that other person or bring them food or clean up after them when they're sick. That's part of it. That's what you sign up for when you're in relationships. It can't just be, for the good stuff. It needs to be for those times when that other person is weak and they need your strength and they need from you, just like you would want somebody to be there for you. But when that is a problem for you, you don't even want to pick them up. If they say are coming in from the airport, everything is an inconvenience for you and you're fussing all the time about it, the love is gone. And when you start decreasing in your effort when it comes to your partner, the love is gone. 19, you don't like who you become with that person. You find yourself being mean, short-tempered, you have an attitude, you're bitter, you're jealous, you're nagging. The love is gone. 20, you lose sight of the goals that you and that person set. Y'all made all these plans in the beginning. You were excited. You knew it was going to take a while to do this, that, and the other. And you don't even think about those things anymore. All you're worrying about is the fact that things aren't going exactly the way you wanted them to go. You can't see the big picture for maybe the small things that are going wrong. And you lose sight of the goals that you set. Because nothing is always easy all the time, you guys. If you make plans and you set goals, just understand there's going to be opposition sometimes. There's going to be things getting in your way, but you have to keep your eye on the prize as to why y'all got together in the first place. 21, you no longer argue when it's not even worth the conversation anymore, or you don't get upset about anything that other person says or does anymore. You have emotionally tuned out. You have emotionally turned yourself off to that person. The love is gone. 22, you no longer want to commit. You're thinking about doing some things with other people. You're thinking about what it would be like to be single, how you miss being single, and you start doing single things because you no longer want to commit. 23, you shut down and no longer engage during conversation. You may show up, you may listen, but when that person is trying to get feedback from you and find out, what you think about things, you never have anything to say because, again, you have shut down and you have mentally left the relationship, but you're physically still there. The love is gone. And 24, the last thing is you can't imagine growing old with that person. If the idea of spending the rest of your life with that person, growing old with them, turns your stomach or upsets you or makes you mad or you dread the idea of it, honey, the love is gone. And Romans 12:9-10 says, love must be sincere. Hate what is evil, cling to what is good, be devoted to one another in love, and honor one another above yourselves. That's genuine love. That's sincere love. So you need to make sure that that's what you're signing up for when you sign up for it. Or stay single. Stay single. And what are 5 responses, you guys, when you realize that love no longer lives here? You know, sometimes it is what it is. You know, sometimes you just have to face the facts. The love has left our relationships. So 1, you can communicate. You can articulate your feelings to that other person and tell them why you feel the way that you do, and just be honest about things and just see, you know, if they're even caring about how you're feeling in the relationship. Because that means a lot if they have no compassion towards how you feel, or if they try to make you feel like everything is your fault, that you're the problem. That says a lot. 2, evaluate if the relationship is worth saving. And if both of you guys still have the same goals, and if both of you guys still want the same things. 3, appreciate. Appreciate, even if the relationship has to end, you guys. Don't end on an angry note. Don't end bitter. You know, I did a podcast about this before, about how you don't have to end up hating the person that you break up with. You have to be mature enough to be able to say, you know what, I hate this, did not work. I had hopes for us and I really wanted this to work, but I appreciate. There's nothing better than recognizing that everything wasn't all bad. You know, no relationship is all bad all the time, you guys. So just the fact that you could look back and say, you know what, I appreciate the good times that we did have. You know, and make a point of holding on to those good memories instead of becoming bitter. Because you never know, with a little bit of time, you guys may become friends later. I know that happened with my son's dad. You know, after our divorce, you know, it was a horrible divorce under horrible circumstances, but he reached out and started communicating with me about some issues he was having in his new relationship. And part of me wanted to, you know, rub it in his nose and rub it in his face and just say, you know what, you know, for treating me the way that you did, this is what you deserve. But you know, when you ask God to change you, when you ask God to help you heal, it's amazing how you don't even find joy in seeing somebody else hurt that hurt you. I had no joy in the idea of seeing him hurt. And because I showed him compassion, because I was there to listen, and I was there to let him know everything was going to be okay. Hey, Rashida, everything was going to be okay over time, because I started remembering the good parts of our relationship, the good part of our marriage, my son, you know, and just how he was a good father to him at the time that when we were together. You know, those are the things I held on to. And after about a year or so, we became best friends. Best friends. And people couldn't understand how, just knowing the situation of what broke us up, how we could be so close later on. That comes from growing up and asking God to help you to see that everything has a purpose. Even the bad stuff that we go through, it has a purpose. And we learn to appreciate the good times, the good things that you had, and the times when you laughed, and the time when it was fun. And then you can start seeing that person again as a human being, not the person that hurt you, not the person that cheated on you, not the person that betrayed you. If you truly want to be healed, learn to see that person for who they really are, instead of what they did to you or what happened in your relationship. Because you never know. It may work out later on that you become good friends and that you end up still being a part of one another's lives, just in a different capacity. And I'm thankful for that I had that opportunity to grow in that area because I wasn't taught that. I was taught, you stay mad, you be mad, when somebody hurts you like that. That was the opposite of what I grew up with, and that was the opposite of what I was taught. So that was a really, really important part of my life when I was able to forget all that pain and forget all that hurt. Hey, Shakita, and forget, who did what, who said what, and look at him as a person again, because there was value in our relationship. May not have been there as us being husband and wife, but there was value in our friendship, and my son got to see us being best friends before his father died. And that's what I wanted my son to see. I didn't want him to remember all of the anger, all of the pain, all of the tears, all of that bad stuff. So before his father left this earth, he remembered us being almost best friends. And I'm thankful for that. Number 4, you can excommunicate. That's another thing you can do when you realize love is no longer in the house. Sometimes people that don't love you anymore can be really disrespectful. Sometimes they can be really hurtful towards you. Sometimes they can take your kindness for weakness. And sometimes the best thing that you can do so you don't do something stupid, so you don't do something you're going to regret later because they're treating you that way, sometimes you need to excommunicate yourself. That means cut off all communication, cut off all ties, cut that off. If there's no respect, then you get away from it. Don't waste your time with it, because no matter what you've gone through with another person, respect needs to always be in the house. I don't care if love has left, but you respect me as a person. I respect you as a person. I'm not going to talk to you a certain way. You're not going to talk to me a certain way. Just because this is not working, that does not give you a license to mistreat me, to belittle me, to abuse me. So sometimes when you're dealing with an immature person, you have to excommunicate. And number 5, sometimes you just have to evacuate, which means just stay away from the temptation to jump into another relationship too soon. Sometimes you need to get off by yourself when you've had a breakup and just figure out, what it is that you really want, what it is that makes you happy. Because a lot of times we put so much of our happiness in the hands of other people. I know I did. I'm a living witness. That was one of my biggest mistakes. It's because I believed people would treat me the way I treated them. If I loved them, then they would be good to me and I wouldn't have to worry about certain things. Well, life taught me otherwise, that everybody is not you. Everybody doesn't love like you. I'm one of those women. I love hard. And everybody doesn't love that way, and they won't give that back to you. And sometimes it's hard being that kind of person, but in the scope of things, it actually balances things out, because you need people that love hard to balance out those people that don't even know how to love, that don't know how to give of themselves. Because a lot of times, us that love hard, we end up teaching those other people how to love somebody properly. And give yourself time to grieve, because pain is normal with a breakup. And then distract yourself from what happened and stop talking about what went wrong. Stop telling everybody about the breakup. Avoid that other person, like I say, if they cannot be respectful. Avoid that other person. If you find yourself getting tempted to go back into a toxic relationship, you need to evacuate. You need to get away and cancel communication with that person so you can heal, so that you can make better choices, so that you can be a better version of yourself than you were when you were with them. Because sometimes people bring out the worst in you and you don't even realize it until you get out of the relationship. It took my youngest son to tell me, when I got out of this last bad relationship, my son said, "Mom," He said, I didn't even recognize you because I was always going through something. I was always upset about something. My patience was short. And then after I'd been out of that relationship for a while, I remember my son saying, I like this you. This is a better you. And it was all because I got out of a toxic relationship that was causing me to change, that was causing me to not be the person that I truly am. And just hearing him say those words, it really opened my eyes to how, even when we get in relationships, you guys, when it comes to our kids, that relationship affects them just as much as it affects you. That's why you got to be so careful about what you allow around your children, who you allow around your children, who you invite in your home to live in your home with you and your children, because it's not just about you. Those kids are being affected whether they say anything or not. So we have to remember that it's not just about us. We have to be mindful that what goes on in our house, it affects us, but it also affects our children too. And then don't get caught up in depression, you guys, just because somebody rejects you, somebody decides they don't love you anymore, somebody decides in their mind that you're not good enough. Just because they think you're not good enough doesn't make it fact. You have to know who you are. That's why you have to learn to love yourself first. Because once you know who you are, you don't need somebody else to tell you you're good enough. You don't need somebody to tell you, that you're a 10. You already know you are. So if they can't deal with it, that's fine. But I'm not going to feel bad about myself because you didn't know how to love me, because you didn't understand that I'm different from the kind of women you've been dealing with, or a woman, didn't understand that he was different from the men she's been dealing with. That's not my problem. That's a you problem. So therefore, don't ever get down on yourself just because somebody rejects you. And you can't worry about what other people say. So you have to get past the shame, get past the disappointment, and just understand relationships fall apart sometimes. It happens to everybody. Some of the most beautiful women in the world have been divorced more than one time. So just understand, it's nothing personal about you. There's nothing wrong with you just because a relationship did not work. 4, recognize when you're ready to move on and get back out there and meet new people. If you know you're a people person, don't let a bad relationship keep you to yourself, keep you in hiding for years and years and years because you're afraid of being hurt again. When you know that you're the kind of person that loves companionship, don't let somebody that hurt you in your past keep you in an invisible cage and keep you from moving forward to somebody that might actually love you the right way. And the 6th thing that you do when love no longer lives here, you pray. Pray your strength in the Lord. Pray to be able to keep your head up. Pray to be able to go to sleep at night without worrying about and crying over that relationship. Pray for guidance. Pray for your healing. And pray that because of what somebody else did to you, that fear doesn't get down in your spirit and you become a person that's always suspicious of everybody. Because a lot of times when you're suspicious of other people, that means that you think they have an ulterior motive because you don't think that you're good enough for them to truly want to be with you. And that's what you got to pray about. When you've had a series of broken relationships, it does something to you. You begin to blame yourself. You begin to look at yourself as not worthy. Even though you don't say it out loud, you do begin to look at yourself as unworthy. Simply because you see other people and their relationship is still going on. But just because it looks good on the outside, you guys, y'all have no idea of what's going on the inside. So that's why you need to keep your eyes off other people's relationship, because everything you see is not always the truth. And you guys, my final thought is, sometimes no matter how hard we try or want relationships to last, for whatever reason they fail. This doesn't make us failures. The relationship failed. You're not a failure. Don't label yourself that just because that happened. Divorce is not your name. Heartbreak is not your future. Don't lose hope. Learn from the losses. Take the lesson out of it, and then make up your mind what you will and will not tolerate in the future. That's how you learn how to set your boundaries, by going through enough things that hurt you to the point where you say, you know what, this is what I did wrong this time. I'm going to be honest from the beginning and say, you know, I don't tolerate this in a relationship. A lot of times you have to put your foot down and let people know how they need to treat you, because a lot of times they don't know how. They have no idea how to treat you. But you have to set the boundaries. You have to give them the blueprint so that they'll know that you can't deal with me the same way you deal with everybody else. I'm different. I'm special. And you have to believe that in your heart. Take time to heal. And then when you're ready to move on, do it. Don't be afraid. Be happy with your life. You guys, thank you so much for watching. I love you guys. And I look forward to the weeks ahead. Next week, you guys, I am on vacation. I will see you guys when I come back. And I just ask you guys to do one thing for me. You know, when you think about love and when you think about relationships, ask yourself this. Does it look like God? Does it line up with God, with what God says love is? Nobody's perfect. Don't get me wrong. Nobody's going to get all of that right. But check the spirit of the thing. Make sure that it has the outline. It won't be perfect of what God says love is before you jump in and you put your heart all into it. Make sure that it's from God. You guys, let's say a quick prayer. Father God, we come before you and we just thank you, Lord. We thank you so much just for how much you love us. You are the example of perfect love. And God, we know that on this earth, we won't experience that love from another human being. But God, let us be mindful that you made us the kind of people that need relationships. And there's nothing wrong with that, Father God. But help us to be wise in choosing those relationships. Help us to set those boundaries that we need to set so that we're not wasting our time and not putting our heart into something that's not meant for us, Father God. God, we ask that you just continue to guide us and just help us to love ourselves more, Father God, because once you truly love yourself, anything and everything cannot attach to you, because when your confidence level is up, everybody that's not right for you is not going to be willing to step to you. And God, I thank you for your covering. I ask that you continue to watch over each and every person on Sister I Got You. And God, we love you, we honor you, and we praise you in Jesus' name. Love you guys. Thank y'all for watching. I will talk to y'all later. All right. Bye.